I am a narcissist's worst nightmare. At this point, they don't want to fuck with me. So as I was in court recently, advocating for my son in family court and trying to express to the judge why I feel like his father is unsafe due to previous domestic violence cases and the continuous stalking and harassment that I've endured over the past 9 years, the judge told me to be quiet. I don't want to hear your voice. Now, mind you, I don't have a lawyer representing me at that time, and the abuser, he does have a lawyer to represent him. So what I noticed throughout this court case is how the judge was treating me versus him, even though he is the abuser, even though he's the one that's neglected his son for 9 years, even though he clearly stated that he had supervised visitation because of domestic violence against me. Now, this is what I want some women to understand, okay? Family court is a system. It is not meant to protect your child. It's not meant to love your child. It's about money and control. That's what all of these systems are in place for. They can give a damn about the safety of the child. Unless you have some legal representation to speak up for you to where your voice can be heard. I found it very odd that the judge, mind you, she's a woman and she has children herself because she said it in one of the court sessions. Okay, but for her to say to me as a mother, just advocating for my son, the same tone that I'm using in this video is the same tone that I used on Zoom court, so that I could be heard very clearly and that some things could be in place prior to going from supervised visitation with his father to just full-blown unsupervised visitation over the weekend. I thought that was very neglectful of the court to do such a thing. Now, to say to me, this is how I know a lot of this shit be some type of psychological war. It's one thing for the judge to say, be quiet, I've heard enough, or thank you for your side, or even if she had said, put me on mute. But for her to say out her mouth as if she known me, as if we conversed outside of the Zoom court, be quiet, I don't want to hear your voice. Do you know how personal you have to feel about that person in order to say you don't want to hear their voice, as if my voice is irritating to her? Now, spiritually, okay, your voice is actually your power of speech. So she wanted to shut me up as I tried to advocate for my child. And she also wanted to make me feel belittled in that moment. She wanted to make me feel silenced in that moment. She wanted to make me feel anything other than empowered in that moment, or as if my voice or my words will make a difference. And this is why I cannot stand the family court system, because moments like that is what empowers the abusive parent to feel like everybody is against the one parent who is logical and sane. For the abusive parent to hear the judge say to the mother of the child, be quiet, I don't want to hear your voice, that means she doesn't want to hear your opinion. She doesn't want to hear your thoughts. She doesn't want to hear your convictions in the situation. She don't want to hear your impression, your idea, none of that. So regardless, what that let me know is she had no intent of hearing my side. Whatever transpired before she got on the Zoom between the lawyer and the defendant, it took a toll on how she perceived me. Again, right? Because if you're telling somebody, I don't want to hear your voice, that means their voice is irritating to you. That means their voice bothers you. It gets under your skin. Them being able to speak, like, the voice is to shut down somebody's voice is just such a personal thing to say. Which lets me know that lawyer and his abusive father had to have had some type of prior conversation. It had nothing to do, and she was upset at the fact that I did not send my son over to his father's house because I didn't receive a court order. I don't have to follow a court order that I objected to that never became a final court order. And I never received the physical copy of the order stating that no, your objection was denied. You need to follow this court order. So therefore, I didn't have a court order to follow. So I was trying to explain that to her as well, and she thought that I was lying. How is it that a parent that's been in the child's life, all of the child's life, never took a day off, is the one that is silenced? Because it's about money. It's about power. It's about who they know. The lawyer may be friends with the judge. It's not a true justice system that we're working with. So as mothers, if we can, you definitely need to have some type of lawyer representation when you're dealing with the courts, because they don't see you they don't respect you as a civilian or as a citizen. They don't. They respect the lawyers. It's the lawyers that hold the power in the court system. It's the relationships that the lawyers have with the judges that hold the power. Even if the other parent is abusive, even if the other parent is neglectful to their child, even if they don't pay child support and take care of their child outside of child support or whatever the case may be, they do not care when they are in the courtroom with somebody that they know that has already given them the scoop on a plaintiff, which will be you. And the more and more I begged for him not to have unsupervised visitations with his son, the more and more she got angry with me. She said, you better let him see his son. And it's like, do you know him? I provided the court with police reports. I provided the court with every form of information that I had that will show the character of his father and his intentions. Everything that could possibly support me in court, I showed. And it was dismissed. It was disregarded. And I don't even think she read the whole packet, to be honest. And in between the time when we did not have a solid court order, his father came to my house with the police, just stalking and harassing me, claiming that I'm keeping my son from him. I'm going to withhold my son from you as long as I can, because I know your true character. I know your true character. Now it's to the point where, okay, the judge said I have to do it in order to avoid going to jail. So I have no choice but to send my son in a space where I know he's not mentally safe. His dad is not mentally safe for him. He talks bad about him. He says crazy things to him. Call him dumb, stupid, slow. My son has an IEP, which means he has special education services in school, which means he's not going to learn how the next child learn, which means you got to be patient. You have to try to understand my son in order to teach him. He's not going to learn like your other baby mama kids. You can't treat him like you treat your other baby mama kids. But he's so bent on trying to hurt me that ultimately this is really affecting my son. So when I get on the internet and I just vent and I rant about what it is that I'm dealing with, that's because I know I'm not the only mother that's trying to defend her child. And the court system is silencing her, shutting her up. She can't afford the proper legal representation. And because of that, they feel like they can walk all over her and disregard the fact that she feels her child is in harm's way. Any man with a history of domestic violence should never have any access to their children. Never.